Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's webinar. While we wait for some of the attendees to join, we have a little video clip about our online bootcamp for this summer. So let's go ahead and take a look at it for the next 30 seconds, and we'll get started with this week's topic. There's supposed to be a background music, but without it, it seems a little longer than 30 seconds. But once we're done with this video, we'll get started. There, yes, we're currently taking live virtual diagnostic test. Students are enrolling and taking a virtual online test. So you're more than welcome to sign up on our website. Welcome once again. My name's David. I will be talking about, for those who doesn't know what to do, what majors to choose, what career path to go ahead and choose. So we'll go ahead and hopefully be able to answer some of your questions. So a few things about myself. I've been working for Elite for the past 15 years. I'm currently a director of Anaheim Hills as well as Elite of Corona. I came to the United States when I was 17, so it was pretty late coming into a different country. So definitely first generation immigrant family. I think the only reason why I was qualified to actually do this webinar with you is because I've changed my college major 4 times. I think that's why some of the directors actually nominated me to go ahead and cover this topic. I am ISTP, even though my wife disagrees that I'm an introvert. I am an introvert. And for those of you who doesn't know what ISTP means, we'll go ahead and cover that later. So I'm a family man. I have 2 daughters and a son. I've been married for over 15 years now, and my daughter's going to go ahead and start high school this year. I'm excited and worried at the same time. I am also avid fisherman. I've been trying to catch the 100-pound tuna. Haven't happened yet. I'm hoping that this year will be the year. I'm also a Christian. I was born and raised in a Christian family, and on the topic of the religion, I used to believe that, of course I prayed about it too. I used to believe that one day I'll see this light from the sky and hear this, a voice from the sky telling me the purpose of my life. What major I should choose for college, what career path that I should follow. But clearly that hasn't happened. Maybe that's why I changed my major 4 times. And I'm currently working as a counselor, even though my major is in economics. So maybe I could actually help you to do better than how I did. And I've chose a graphic of crystal ball. During my initial seminars, initial conferences with parents, quite often parents will ask me questions like, David, what do you think will be a good major for my son? And, honestly, I don't know. I just met your son 10 minutes ago. They believe that, elite counselors, elite directors, we have a crystal ball that we can just pull out and tell you what to do. That is not true. So today's seminar, one thing that I'm not going to be able to answer is I'm not going to be able to tell you what to major in or what career path to follow, but I'm going to try to give you homeworks, hopefully meaningful homeworks that you could do and explore different options of college major and career path. So let's get started. Okay, college majors, does it really matter? Matter of fact, undeclared major was the 9th most popular or common major for freshman admission. So I guess it's safe to say many of us does not know what we want to major in college. And I think parents could relate to that too. I mean, most of us, we didn't know what we wanted to major in. And you know, for some of us, we still don't know what we want to go ahead and pursue it as a career. And 33% of the college students actually changed their major at least once. They said close to 10% of the students actually changes their major twice or more. And this information was provided by Department of Education. So it's a pretty a big sample size that we could actually rely on. Also, I believe a study was done by Wall Street Journal, but they said 73% of college grads actually will work in unrelated field, meaning, like me, someone who majored in economics will be working in education, right? So most majority of them, will be working at an unrelated field based on their major. Okay. And I found this last bullet point pretty interesting because, the recent study that was done shows that students who changed their major actually had a higher rate of a graduation. So I guess it's pretty easy to understand that if you like what you study, chances are you're going to do better, right? So hopefully we'll be able to get to that point. Last year, I attended a conference called NACAC, and one of the speakers there actually shared this information, and I thought it was pretty interesting. These are the top CEOs of some of the biggest companies in our country, and as you can see, some of them has a unrelated major. I think the most straightforward one is the CEO of IBM, majoring in computer science. But if you look at CEO of YouTube majoring in history, or CEO of Slack majoring in philosophy, so if we look at this, we could actually say, hey, you know what? Maybe major does not matter, right? Yes, I think to a certain degree that is true. Okay, but before we make that conclusion, let's go ahead and study the colleges and majors a little bit more so that we could better understand them. UCLA, one of the big school, actually has 6 different colleges within UCLA. And these are colleges that does offer undergraduate degree. If we go ahead and talk about other professional schools, obviously UCLA has more schools than this, but these are the schools that our high school students could actually apply into, okay? And as you can see, College of Letters and Science is the big one. It holds about 80%, maybe a little bit more than 80% of the college majors are all in the College of Letters and Science. And there's a College of Arts and Architecture, School of Engineering, School of Nursing, which is a pretty small school, and there's a School of Music. School of Music is kind of new to UCLA, so some of those parents who graduate from UCLA will notice like, hey, there was no School of Music when I was attending. That's because it's new. It used to be part of College of Letters and Science, but now they actually have a separate School of Music, including performing arts in there. Also, they have School of Theater, Film, and Television. Obviously, yes, because, it's right next to Hollywood. Also, so going back here. Okay, so if you want to major in, let's say, chemistry, then you're going to have to apply to a College of Letters and Science, in the physical science department. If you want to study chemical engineering, then you're going to have to apply to College of Engineering. So knowing college major, like knowing what you want to study in college, will actually give you a little different direction here, okay? And let's look at different colleges, different university. So now we have UC Berkeley. Okay, there's a College of Letters and Science. I think I'm going to have to move this up a little bit so you guys can have a better view, okay? There's a College of Letters and Science, and then there's a College of Chemistry, College of Engineering, Environmental Design, Natural Resources, and there's a Haas School of Business. Yes, Haas School of Business does offer undergraduate degrees, However, you can't directly apply to Haas School of Business. You'll actually have to go to College of Letters and Science or pre-business economics major, and then you're going to have to, after 2 years, transfer into or reapply into Haas School of Business Business Administration program. But what's different than UCLA is, in Berkeley, if you want to study chemistry, now you're not applying to College of Letters and Science. You need to apply to College of Chemistry. And if you want to study chemical engineering, you're not applying to College of Engineering, you're applying to College of Chemistry. So, once again, a little different. How about we look at next school? Now we have UC San Diego. Okay, they model something a little different. It's more like a smaller liberal arts colleges put together. Every single school that UC San Diego offers, they have different mission, they have different general education requirement. But then again, no matter where you are placed within these colleges, you could major in whatever you want, right? Obviously, there are some preferred colleges. For example, of Muir College will actually lower the general education requirement for engineering students, right? So there are preferred colleges, but you could actually major chemistry or chemical engineering in any one of the schools here, okay? So after all, maybe major does matter a little bit when it comes to selecting the school or selecting the right college. However, they do allow major changes, right? Student could go in and then, they could change their major, okay? According to UCLA's website, I do have the link underneath here, and then I have another link underneath in case you're thinking about changing your major at UCLA, or if you have older siblings currently attending UCLA who want some more information about transferring or changing their major. They're saying that students in good academic standing could actually submit a petition, and just as long as you get approved, granted that you do need good academic standing, but you could change your major. Okay, how about UCI? Okay, UCI made it a little bit easier. It says you could request change of your major by submitting an online application. Okay, so not even submitting a petition, physical, copy and getting the professors to sign off. At UCI, you could just do it online. You just log onto your student portal, and then you could request your major change. Okay, how about more selective private school? Okay, schools like Stanford actually tell students that all undergraduate students, okay, has access to all undergraduate offerings, right? Whether it's a School of Earth, Energy, Environmental Science, Engineering, Humanities, and Science, okay, except like performing arts, right? Obviously, you go start college, and then you pick up a piano the first year in college and you want to transfer into performing arts. That's not going to happen. But other than that, most of other majors are open for anyone, right? So even, for more selective private schools, that's even easier to change your major. So maybe after all, it doesn't matter, okay? But it does have a little, the other point of that. There's such thing called capped major, or, for freshman admission, maybe we'll call it impacted major, but there are certain majors that are in high demand, and they will not allow students, or they will limit the number of students who could transfer or change major into a certain department or certain schools. So on the top, we have capped majors at UCI, and it says, unfortunately, we're not able to accommodate changes of a major request into the business administration or nursing science majors. So other than that, I guess it's pretty much open at UCI, okay? And underneath there, UC San Diego, it says, all right, these majors are capped: biological science, data science, math, physics, public health, and obviously a bunch of other majors in engineering, okay? So if you start as an engineering major, and if you want to get out of it, then it's pretty easy. But if you start as non-engineering major, and you want to get into engineering or math or data science, then it's going to be pretty difficult. Okay, so I guess it's not all open, but they do allow students to change major. So after all, maybe, not knowing the major is not bad at all. So let's look at this data here. Okay, I do wanted to just have a live link here so that, after the webinar, if you want to go back and play around with this data and look at more or self-study it more, you could. So this is undergraduate admission of UCI. And well, of course, there are a whole bunch of data, but we're going to go ahead and sort this to majors. Okay. And now here you could see, I don't know, it's kind of small, so maybe I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys could see better. Okay, hopefully that's good. Okay, so now you could see each year and the admission rate, selectivity rate for each major. Wow. Okay, because whenever we talk about students target college versus reach college, dream school, many other parents are, well, almost all of them will be asking this question: David, is there such thing as an easier major to get into? And what's the easiest major that you can get into to UCLA or Berkeley or UCI or UC San Diego? And sometimes they have this false idea, like, I heard that biology is the most popular major, so maybe even though I really want my kids to study biology, maybe we'll go ahead and apply for Asian American studies because he's Asian, right? Like, must be easier to get in. And then I'll bring them to this document here. So as you could see, if we go, a lot of the humanities majors are not that easy to get in. Okay, so let's look at Asian American studies here. Okay, the number of students applying into the Asian American studies is pretty small, but I guess the word got out and say, hey, you know what, maybe it's easier. But let's actually look at the acceptance rate. Okay, it's actually 9% acceptance rate. So if you're thinking, hey, well, biology is right underneath here, so let's look at biology. Biology had 30% acceptance rate, right? So, if you're thinking that Asian American studies is less popular major, so you're choosing that instead of biology, actually, you're lowering your chance of getting into the school, right? So yes, you do have a live link for this. So later on, you can go in, play around with this. I believe I actually have other links for other UC schools as well as some of the private schools, so you can take a look at it. Another thing that I really want to just quickly point out for UCI, because it's one of the popular school for my clientele here, because in UC system, there are only 3 schools that offers business administration to an undergrad. Okay, it's Berkeley, and we talked about it earlier, and it's UCI, and then it's UC Riverside. I know some other schools trying to add that, but right now, that's it. And if you look at business administration, it's 8%, 8.8, so almost 9% acceptance rate. So it's pretty difficult to get in. But if you look at business economics, it's 44% acceptance rate. What you do need to understand is business administration is offered in the School of Business and Information versus business economics is offered in School of Social Sciences, right? So if you go thinking, oh, hey, it's the same business, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just, based on this acceptance rate, I'm going to go for business economics and trying to transfer into business administration later on. Remember on the previous slide that I showed that UCI, one of the capped major was business administration. So that's not going to work, okay? And, the reason why I actually opened up this file is to get all the way to the down. Okay, at the very bottom, we want to go ahead and look at undecided. Okay, so undeclared. Okay, so UCI allows students to go undeclared major within the School of, let's say, social science or physical science or life science. Okay, so this is accumulation of all the students who actually went undeclared into some college within UCI. So there are a pretty big number of students, and if you look at the overall acceptance rate, it's 35%, meaning it was better than their overall, the grand total acceptance rate, which was 26%. So problem solved, right? We could say, all right, I guess I don't need to know what I want to major in because undeclared major is actually offering a better acceptance rate, right? So why not just go with it? Okay, so thank you for joining me, right? Problem solved, questions has been answered. So I guess we could all apply undeclared to UCI. Not really. There's a little more to this story, okay? So now we learned that it's okay to not know what you want to major in, right? But there's a benefit of knowing what you want to major in, okay? So let me talk about the benefit now. All right, so parents versus students. Okay, so when parents applied for here, the admission data here is for UCLA. When parents applied to UCLA in 1990, their admission rate was 47%. So it was like almost 1 out of 2. It was pretty easy to get in. And their tuition was a lot cheaper than what you will be paying if you apply to UCLA right now or get started on this fall semester, right? And look at the tuition. It's a lot more than what your parents actually paid before. Not to mention, it's a lot more difficult to get into UCLA now. Okay, so knowing that it's going to be more difficult and more expensive, it will be better if you know what you want to do, right? You know, I stole this graph from UCLA website, and then you could actually find a link underneath it. The good news is that their number of applicants came back down a little bit on 2019, but then the number of admitted was lower than before. So their admission, you know, acceptance rate right here, admit rate, actually has gone down furthermore. Okay, and I mean, due to COVID-19, I know a lot of things going to change, but one thing that will not change is students will still want to go to a good college, right? So I don't think that's going to change the college admission landscape. Okay. Not to mention that it's more difficult. I mean, on top of being more difficult and more expensive, the trend of what students want to study has been changing, right? And this data is from UC San Diego. And as you can see, science and math in past 10 years has gone up, right? The number of students studying has gone up 127% versus students who are actually applying or studying undeclared or starting the college with the undeclared major has gone down in past 10 years, right? So the trend is changing. Coming back to the UCLA's point, because we talked about all this, you know, 6 different colleges earlier on UCLA colleges, these are the admission rate for each school, okay? I had a student who thought that UCLA nursing school will be easier to get in than UCLA College of Letters and Science, which is not true. If anything, UCLA nursing school, as you can see, is the most difficult one to get into, right? It's even harder than UCLA, the School of Theater, Film, and Television, right? The easiest one is the music right now, but that's one, because the music school is kind of new. And 2, if you're not already playing instrument or planning to study music, they don't offer that many different majors in School of Music. So generally, I guess if you want to get into UCLA, then College of Letters and Science will be the best bet. Okay. Going a little bit deeper into it, as you can see it from a previous slide here, engineering had 10% admission rate. And if you look at within the School of Engineering, now you can see, all right, computer engineering 6%, aerospace engineering 7.6%. But wait a second, material engineering had 33% acceptance rate. Right? I know some of you guys right now are thinking, all right, if that is so, I will be applying to UCLA material engineering next year, or a year after that. But one thing that I do want to remind you is that there's about 1,000 participants on this webinar. So let's say all of you guys apply to UCLA for material engineering major, then next year outcome will be completely different, right? Because about 1,000 students could really change the whole ratio or the admission rate for the certain major. The reason why UCLA School of Engineering could actually have data, admission data per major is because they actually do accept students into major. Okay, so there's a little bit of a, I gotta clear this out a little bit. When you apply to school, and I'm just gonna keep using UCLA as an example because we already shared a lot of data about UCLA. When you apply to biology with a biology major, then you will be freshman in College of Letters and Science in the Department of Life Science with intention of majoring biology. Okay, so they don't have a certain number of spots for bio major. They have just certain amount of spots for life science. Okay, versus when you apply to engineering, they actually have certain amount of spots available for computer engineering, aerospace engineering, computer science. That's why they could actually calculate the admission rate per major here. Versus if you go look at the College of Letters and Science Department of Life Science, they're not going to be able to give you admission rate per major, right? They could say, oh, life science admission rate was 14%, but they can't tell you what the admission rate was for biology or molecular biology or cellular biology. Okay, so there's a little bit of a difference there. Okay, hopefully I made that clear. Okay, changing your major within your undergraduate years could actually add years to your college experience. Not that college experience is bad, but it comes at the cost, right? So let's look at this. Okay, hopefully some of the high school students will find this helpful. Parents, go down the memory lane and see what it looked like back then. So there is a general education requirements, which is per college, right? So College of Letters and Science, College of Engineering, College of Nursing, College of Film, and all other colleges here. So they have different GE requirement, okay? And as you can see, this was engineering here, okay? Engineering had the least amount of GE requirement. So let's say that you went in as an engineering major and you decide to change to non-engineering major. Let's say you decide to change into a biology major. That means you have now more GEs to take. That was not part of your consideration before, right? So now you might need to take more classes, okay? Or you went from College of Music to College of Letters and Science, then now you might need to go ahead and take more GE because College of Arts to College of Letters and Science, because College of Art has 38 units, but now Letters and Science has 48 units. Okay, and this is just the general education requirement. Okay, they also have, okay, and we're gonna go back here. Okay. They also have your major requirements, right? So you could see the course description here. Let's say you are a communication major, which is in College of Letters and Science, then these are the lower division courses. And these are the upper division courses, okay? So you do need to take, they give you a different, I guess a lot more than what you could take, but you need to select from these classes to fulfill your graduation requirement, okay? So they give you a lot of options and choices, right? So if you change your major, not the first year, second year, but third year, then most likely you're going to have to take some of your lower or upper division classes again based on your new major. Okay, so once again, knowing your major could save you time and money. Okay, but also knowing your major could even better your chance of getting into the college you want. Let's talk about how. Let's say you're interested in science, then maybe you could actually focus on your extracurricular activities that are related to science. Maybe you could actually go into a summer STEM programs. If you're interested in art, then maybe you need to just focus on art so that you could actually tell the school, hey, I want to major in art. And if the school's asking, tell us about your experience in art, then you could actually say, oh, I have done these stuff as extracurricular activities to prove that you're interested in art, rather than I've been always interested in art, therefore I want to major in art, right? You could build the case much stronger, okay? And if you need more resources about, summer programs or other extracurricular activities, you can talk to the elite local branch directors, or I believe we covered this topic 2 weeks ago. So you could actually go on YouTube and search Elite Prep, and you could actually see all our webinar series from the previous weeks. Okay? And please don't compare me to them. They're better than me. And here's additional major related courses you could take. Okay, so on top of extracurricular activities, you could actually take more courses related to your major. Okay, I had some students who could not take computer science A because the school did not offer it, yet the student wanted to go ahead and apply for a computer science major. So he was looking for courses, right? So they could go to elite open school, fully accredited school to take the AP courses and even take the AP test. Or they could go to, EPGY, which is offered at Stanford, or CTY offered at Johns Hopkins. And of course, it will be pretty expensive, but you could actually go there and take some college courses. Or you can take community college courses, okay? Or if none of that is an option, then you can take courses, online courses through edX or Coursera, right? These are, some are completely free. Some you do pay a small fee to get a certificate of completion. But as an example, I had a student who, had some family responsibilities, so could not leave home as freely as some of the other students, but was still interested in, something more in physics, astrophysics. So I introduced him edX, and he was able to find a whole bunch of classes that was actually offered once at MIT and Harvard. So he took about 7 classes. And when he was applying to colleges, we literally ran out of place to put all these courses that he completed. So we actually had additional information in all 7 courses and the professors who taught these courses, and of course the certificate. It's one way to really show that you will go above and beyond. Okay, so in case you don't have other resources, then you could use these resources as well. Okay, so now we just learned, well, first we kind of talked about how college majors doesn't matter. And then we actually discussed about the benefits of knowing college major. So let's talk about college major now. How can we learn about different options? How can we learn about different majors? Okay, how do we study college majors? Okay. First thing you need to know is that we could generally categorize college majors into 2. Okay, on the left, my left, which will be your left too. On the left, you will have engineering, nursing, architecture, accounting, performing arts, and applied math. These are considered applied major. And on the right, literally we can put all other majors on the right. Okay, so in terms of applied major, you're getting education plus training. Okay, on the academic major or general major, you're studying these major for, because you want to learn more about this major, but you also want to develop critical thinking, reasoning skill, writing, and how to ask proper question, how to study so that you could go to graduate school. Okay. So it helps to know whether what you're interested in is in applied major versus other general major, because if you are going to apply to college within the applied majors, then one is going to be a little harder to get in. So you need to be extra prepared. Two, your college selection needs to be readjusted or reviewed. Okay. And there's a different way of looking at different majors. Okay. MBTI test is a personality test, and based on the personality type, you could see what the strengths are, and it could actually go ahead and kind of lead you to certain career choices. And from the career choice, you could backtrack and see what majors will be good for that career choice. Okay. So on my first slide, and when I was talking about, me, I said I was ISTP. Okay. ISTP means introvert, sensing, thinking, and perceiving. Okay. I'm very spontaneous, yet I'm shy. And I guess you can see some of the famous ISTPs. I do connect with the top two. The third one, I'm not so sure, even though probably my family will say otherwise. But based on my personality type, you can see my strength, right? I'm a team player. I'm a risk taker. I'm a creative solver, high dexterity. Probably everyone will disagree. Everyone who knows me probably will disagree with that, but that was one of my strengths. And based on my strength, you can see the careers that are being suggested. Okay. And based on this career, I mean, as you can see, I guess it's a good thing that I actually study economics, but it really kind of helps you to understand, all right, maybe studying economics will be a good thing for me to, go into to be an economist, right? Or, oh, okay, maybe I should go study aerospace engineering so that I could become an aerospace engineer. I don't know what you really need to study to become a race car driver, but yes. So knowing your personality type could actually be a different angle when you're studying for different majors you want. Okay. If that didn't really help, then there's a different way. Okay. There's actually more literal way to study your majors. Okay, so when I'm counseling students and they come in and they have no idea what to study, or if they're just like all open option, then I'll ask about their dream school. And let's say a student will say, oh, USC is my dream school. Then we'll go to USC's website and we'll print out the entire list of majors from USC. And I will help them, or I will assign as a homework for them to go over every single major. So why are we doing this? Well, it's because when students are studying for good GPA and good SAT score and, gaining that leadership role through their extracurricular activities, they're building this profile so that they could go to a college and use that education. But often they only think about getting the profiles ready. They don't really think about how they want to spend time and studying what in college. It's kind of like working really hard and saving up a money to buy a car, and you just walk into a car dealer and say, give me any car that is on top 10 list, right? Like on what list? On whose list? Because everyone has a different list too. Like you don't really think about what you are looking for from college and that experience. Okay. So it helps to know what other options are there. So you could actually eliminate them. Once again, going through the full list, students will actually learn about something like completely new majors. I learn about new majors when I go through the college major list with students. And I'll actually introduce a few of them later. Okay. Once again, the goal here is not to like find the true love when you're going through this list, but to eliminate as many other options as possible so that you have better direction, better direction at looking at the college majors. Okay. And when you're looking up these college majors, of course you could Google it. You could definitely use YouTube, and some of the YouTube channels are doing an excellent job at introducing different majors, and especially like new majors, data science, right? Data science or like astrophysics, right? I'm sorry, astrobiology, right? And if you are, if you find something, interesting, then go one step more. Use those key terms, and then search for TED Talks and see what researches are being done. Look at what professors are doing with that topic. And later on, when you're writing a college app, you could actually use everything you learn from this process. Okay. And of course, once you find something you like, read. Please read more, right? Let me go ahead and give you an example of one of my students. I remember this kid quite vividly because he was interested in what I'm interested in, behavioral economics. So I recommended a few books, and he really found Freakonomics and Super Freakonomics as like a breakthrough for a more entertaining part of the economics or behavioral economics. And when he was applying to college, it happens to be one of the top schools that he chose was University of Chicago. And I remember him liking this book, and I also remember that Steve Levy, one of the co-author of this book, actually teaches at University of Chicago. So when Chicago asked, why do you want to come to our school? He had really clear reason why he felt connected to Chicago, right? So it was much easier for him to connect the dots, right? So if you read, maybe it's a good idea. If you have a dream school, go ahead and look at different professors and their publication, and maybe you can find a book or two and start reading them, right? That will be another good idea to do. Okay. Another approach of looking at college majors is to look at what kind of lifestyle you want to have after you graduate. And this is actually a very, very important thing now that college is so expensive. You really need to look at the return on investment, right? And thank you, Jay, the director of Las Vegas, for sharing this link and teaching me about this website. This probably was by far the most interesting one regarding the income. So let's say we go to this website and click on California. I'm just hoping that majority of the attendees are from California. And let's say you're typing in, well, you can see I've already typed in business before, and you could see how much you could make with what type of degree. So on the top, you're going to see the national average, and over down here, you're going to see the state average, right? So you can type in different engineering, you can type in different social science or social studies, humanities majors, and you can see how much income you could possibly make after you graduate in using that degree. Okay. Well, once again, you don't have to use your degree because, one of the first things that we learned today was many of us are not in the field of a career where our degrees are being used. Okay. But this was a really good resource. Once again, thank you, Jay Park. And oops, I want to go ahead and click on the second link. If you go to payscale.com, they actually do give you best bang for the buck type of colleges. Okay. Well, U.S. Merchant Marine Academy is on the top. Obviously, Military academy is going to be on the top. Engineering schools, you're going to be finding them on the top, because once again, engineering is applied major. You're getting trained as an engineer. So right after you graduate, your income will be, you know, a little bit higher than non-engineering or non-STEM major. So you could maybe go through this list and say, hey, you know what? You know, that's the school that I've never heard of, but they have a good admission rate. Rose-Hulman is actually a really, really good engineering school. Some of our colleagues had a chance to go ahead and visit last year, and we all were very impressed. And you could also look at, if you want to be the big shot, if you want to be the CEO of a big company, maybe you can see where the other CEOs have attended the college, right? So you could actually see, you know, well, most of us will think that, oh, you have to go to Harvard or Stanford to become a CEO, but actually in Fortune 500, Texas A&M, College Station was, yep, 4 of the CEOs graduated from Texas A&M, which was pretty shocking. Well, actually not shocking, knowing that Texas A&M is a really good school as well. So going back to this topic, yes, you might want to check for investment. Why? Because college education is a huge investment. Many of our students will actually have to take out a loan, and student loans are scary. What if you still don't know? After doing all this research and, you know, well, I guess it's still okay, because the first part of the seminar was, you know, it's okay not to know, or you could go undeclared, so that's fine. But, you know, even after doing college major study and all that, what if you still don't know? What if you're still not sure? This next topic, we're not really welcomed by all parents, but I'm still gonna go ahead and present it, because I think it's a, you know, one of the good viable option. Okay, so if you really don't want your kids to hear about this next topic, this is what you need to do to them right now, because we're going to talk about the gap year. Okay, so for those of you who've never heard of the gap year, is literally just taking a year off or semester off. You know, after you graduate from high school, you take a semester or full year off and do something, and then you're going to attend college after that, after the gap year. Okay, this is not really recommended for students who has no idea how they're going to spend the gap year. You know, if you're planning to stay home, play video game, watch Netflix, it's not a good thing to plan for the gap year. But if you know you want to do something, you want to experience something new, or if you're trying to look for the meaning, I guess this is one of the very good way to do so. And I'll share some resources about the gap year. Okay, so self-reported gap year impacts. Okay, this was provided by the American Gap Association. And let's look at some of the things. I really liked, you know, the first one, the top one. I mean, that got me sold. It helped me develop as a person. Wow. Increase my self-confidence. Wow. Help me develop communication skills. I mean, these are the skills that you need to do well, you know, not just in college, but beyond. Okay. And if you, okay. And if you look at the next slide, I almost muted myself. Right here, help me find purpose in my life, right? I mean, yes, we live in a society that you should do everything fast, as most efficiently as possible and get it done. But if we really think about it, our kids, their life expectancy is, it's a lot longer than ours, right? I don't know, maybe COVID-19 will, you know, might have changed that in terms of average. But most likely they're going to live up to close to 100 years old. So spending that one semester or 1 year after high school, right? And really to understand the purpose of your life, and have that time to think about that, I personally like it very much, right? And some of the colleges have done studies. They've been looking at comparing students who took the gap year versus students who did not take the gap year. And Middlebury College is one of the top liberal arts college. And they actually tracked the difference between the students who took the gap year versus students who didn't. So on the left, I believe that's blue. Blue is the students with the gap year. And on the right, I believe that's red. Well, that's the students who did not take the gap year, okay? And this is the GPA. And as you can see, the number of students taking a gap year has dived down a little bit in 2013, but it has come back. And then I don't know why they stopped reporting this. Maybe they didn't like the fact that the number of students who took the gap year has gone up a little bit more. But some of the colleges like this idea of gap year so much, they're actually giving grant to students to go explore, okay? Another school that did the study is University of North Carolina, and the difference is it's so clear for these schools. I mean, for the students at University of North Carolina. Granted, yes, I do understand the sample size of the students who took the gap year was a lot smaller than the sample size of the students who did not take the gap year, but the difference is quite clear, okay? And here are some of the links, books that you can read about gap year. I'm not suggesting that gap year is a solution, but it's an option. So, well, I thought this little cartoon was pretty funny because, you know, I did suggest a personality test earlier. Okay, and it's pretty funny because automation, when we are talking about future jobs, we have to talk about AIs, right? I mean, for our kids' generation, you know, some of the career options that we had is not going to be available, and you know, to be honest, some of the career options that it's going to be available for them, we don't even know what it is now, right? I mean, look at data science, how quickly it developed, and then now every major companies are looking for someone who majored in data science, right? So we're looking at different organizations and their ranking of future jobs, okay? And based on what they believe, it's kind of all over the place, but healthcare definitely has been on the top part. Software and computer science also is on the top part for the majority of these surveys, okay? Or I should call it a prediction, okay? And yes, CNBC, Business Insider, right? Forbes. And I do know that I misspelled the retailer truck driver, so please don't email me about that. Just please remember I came to the United States when I was 17, and US News. So as you can see, US News believe that a lot of them, except the top software developer, a lot of them will be in healthcare, okay? So, you know, I will suggest parents to go ahead and read a couple books about, you know, AIs, and maybe recommend a book about AIs to the students. And if the student is interested in computer science, I would strongly encourage them to, you know, pursue their interest. So we're here now, almost done with this long webinar. The takeaway is uncertainty is unavoidable. You should focus on what you could do. And I'm hoping that I gave you some of the ideas that you could do now at home to really learn and explore different options that you could have. I really want to encourage students to spend time investigating what they like, not what they want, but what they like, okay? And please remember, you know, you won't be able to make the perfect decision about your college or about your major, right? But the goal here is to make the most informed and thoughtful decision, okay? So if you're really just worried about everything, remember this. There's no such thing as a perfect decision when it comes to college major or career, okay? You just need to make the most informed decision. So spend less time worrying about it and study, okay? And we're already on the 50-minute webinar, but you know, I wanted to go ahead and share some of the interesting majors. fermentation science. If I have known that this was a viable option, then I would have definitely majored in it. There are some schools like at UC Davis was one of them, I believe. It's this beer making, right? Major of a beer making, not only beer, but other things, but beer generally. I definitely, thought it was an interesting major. PPE is also a major that, honestly, if I could go back in time and study or do college all over again, then I would study PPE major. Not all colleges will offer a PPE major, but I've always have recommended this to some of the deep thinkers. And if they're thinking about going into law, then I would suggest PPE major, or at least have them look at it. Art, technology, business innovation, that's another interesting major at, I believe, at USC. It's two departments working together, arts and business, as well as engineering, actually 3 departments working together to form this new major. Enology, I believe not many knows what this major is, but it's actually one of the oldest major. It's a major of winemaking. The reason why it's one of the oldest majors is because many of the colleges started as a church, Catholic church, so they studied winemaking. Astrobiology, I think I briefly mentioned it before, but yeah, I thought that it was interesting because one of the things is to look for aliens, kind of. So there are so many different majors, I get to explore, I get to learn. I can't say that I know all the majors that every single college offers. So when I'm studying majors, I always learn something new. And I'm hoping that you could do this. I'm hoping that you go through this so that you could actually make the most informed decision. Okay. That's all I have today. Hopefully I gave you enough homework. Hopefully I was able to help you have a better idea of how to study for majors, and if you had worries, and hopefully you will have less worries now. And thank you once again for joining us. And next week we will have another webinar at Saturday at 4 p.m. Thank you.